the Tisas 1911 Tank Commander in 45 ACP. Let's check it out. The Tisas 1911 hit the U.S. market. People started getting their hands on them because they are a very budget-friendly 1911 option. But what happened was so many people got really excited about these handguns. I was hearing all kind of rave reviews. I have a number of friends that have bought these, and they just talk about the quality for the price is outstanding. I've been trying to get a hold of a Tisas 1911 for a good while, but they're out of stock. And the reason is because people are buying these Tisas 1911s because it gives you a budget-friendly entry-level 1911. Now, they do make a number of different models. This is in more of the old GI style. And this is the Commander length, which is 4.25-inch barrel, rather than the government size, which is a 5-inch barrel. Now, the 1911 served the U.S. military from 1911 to 1985. It's legendary. And guys, honestly, with all the 2011 pistols that have been introduced over the past couple of years, sometimes the 1911 can be overlooked. But the 1911, again, is one of those legendary firearms. And with the Commander version, it's one of my favorites. In fact, for a number of years, I carried a lightweight Commander, Colt, as my concealed carry. Now, this is, again, the Tank Commander. It's an all-steel frame, and it's a forged barrel, forged frame, forged slide, which speaks a lot of the quality. So we're going to take a look at the Tisas 1911, see why it has become so popular and somewhat hard to get. Guys, we got this from Nate over at Guns on Deals, and we want to give them a big thank you for sending the Tisas 1911 Tank Commander for this review, in 45 ACP, of course. All right, guys, the Tisas 1911 Tank Commander. This one is in 45 ACP, but they do make a 9mm version, which 9mm for 1911s have surpassed 45 caliber in popularity. Just a very softer shooting gun. I personally am a huge fan of the original 45. Now, this is in the model of the 1911 A1. It has some quality features to it that we're going to talk about. This is, though, the Commander version, which is a 4 1/4-inch barrel. The government is a 5-inch barrel. The government served the U.S. military, again, since 1911 to 1945, replaced by the Beretta M9. The actual Combat Commander, or Lightweight Commander, Colt started producing those in 1949. So this was actually a post-war design, and yet it served through Korea, Vietnam, a number of other conflicts, and honestly, the 1911 is still in service in the U.S. military and other militaries around the world. It is a legendary firearm. This is in the 70 series design, so it has a really nice trigger, and we'll take a look at that. Sometimes with the 80 series, it had a hammer block, and it could interfere with just the trigger pull as far as just being super smooth. Now we're going to go ahead and drop our 7-round magazine, and that is traditional for your 1911. It has a phosphate finish on it. These are Metgar mags, which that is going to give this a plus right up front. Metgar mags are made in Italy, and you do get 2 mags with the handgun. Go ahead and check to make sure the gun's unloaded, and it is. Now, this is, again, in a traditional style. This is not some of the beaver tail, beefed up, high-ride sights, and all the different things that a lot of the 1911s now pretty much come stock with. But this is your traditional GI type series. It has a really nice manganized finish on it. And of course, the original Parkerized finish, it mimics that. It's a very satin type finish. It's absolutely beautiful. When I pulled this out of the box, and again, I've had so many people asking about a review on these, but I've had so many friends that have bought, especially the 9mm version, that just love it and have gone on and on about it. And I was really wanting one of these for a good while, so Nate was really gracious to send this to me. It has the walnut grips with the diamond pattern, and really nicely checkered. In the box, it actually comes with a set of plastic grips, which was standard for your issued guns. But one big plus for the Tisas is that it has a forged slide, forged frame, steel frame, and a forged barrel. And that is really something that you're not seeing a lot of times with your budget-friendly handguns. That gives it a lot of strength. It allows the heat treating to be more uniform. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why forged parts are definitely superior. Now, being a Tisas, this is made in Turkey. In fact, it's marked right here at the bottom. You can barely see it, but it says ZIG M43 Turkey. Serial numbers right here on the side of the frame. But that's one reason why we're getting the price down very low. And yet, guys, I mean, you can look at it. It has a beautiful finish to it. And one of the things about this type manganese finish is it doesn't hide flaws. It doesn't hide tool marks. It just gives you a very nice classical 1911 style to it. Now, while it does have your grip safety, which is just one of the little tang safeties, and I really like the beaver tail, but the beaver tail is a later development. So this gives you the original feel of the 1911, the same frame safety. Slide stop, of course, that's very traditional. Your mag release has checkering on it, drops the mags free pretty well. This one still has a lot of lubrication on it. And then the mag well has a little bit of a bevel on the side just to allow those straight walled mags of the 1911 to go in. The mainspring housing is not one of your arched mainspring housings, but it's not a flat mainspring housing. It has a little bit of a curve right here, and it just fits right in the palm of your hand. Getting back to the grip safety, this is just one of the holdovers from the 1911. It was required by the U.S. military, and that way, when the hammer is in the rear position, it will not fire unless you have the grip safety fully depressed. And of course, with the safety here, with your frame safety, it's going to lock it down. And honestly, this is a very safe gun to carry. With one in the chamber and a full magazine, you can get 8 rounds. And so now I have it what they call cocked and locked, and all I have to do is drop the safety, and then I can fire the pistol. Now this is a single action, so if I pull the trigger with a hammer down, it's not going to function. But this allows for a really good trigger pull. 1911s are known for really exceptional trigger pulls. Serrations, just GI type serrations. They're very close together. They're at the back of the slide, and they bring it down pretty easily. Now this is a pretty stiff magazine right now. Now we have not taken this to the range, so we're going to go test that out. And again, from all that I've heard, these are just super reliable, but we're going to find out. Now the sights have been upgraded, which I think is a big deal. I've had some of the even 70 series Colts that had just a little blade. This actually has serrations on the back, and it's blacked out, and it has a little bit more thickness. It stands up just a touch more. Then we have our front sight, which is not just that little blade kind of combat sight. Gives you a little bit of extra, and that's serrated as well. To be honest with you, I think that's pretty much it as far as the design features that make it a little more modern. You have your Commander hammer. It has spurs on it, so you can cock that back if you want to. Not that you necessarily always need to, but it does give you that option. Also has your bushing system with your barrel bushing and your bushing plug, and we'll look at that. It's going to be more traditional. Now this is again in 45 ACP, and there are a lot of 8-round magazines. This will take any of your 1911 mags. Sometimes there are some variations in the mags, so it doesn't matter whether you have a Tisas or you have a Springfield Armory or a Kimber. Sometimes the mags, you're going to have to find the right ones if you have some small issues, but typically, you know, the mags are fairly uniform. But again, you had that traditional 7 rounds, and 45 ACP is really known as a great self-defense round, even in ball. They used to say it, they all fall to ball. With 9mm, you know, you'd really want something that has a little more of a self-defense type. But the 45 ACP also, you need that. Makes it more effective. The front of the grip is just smooth, which is typical for your 1911s. Of course, has the serrated lines on your mainspring housing, but overall, it's a 1911. Now, it has one of the GI triggers. There are serrations that are along the lines. You can't switch the mag release to the other side, which is traditional 1911. One thing too, the barrel has been slightly crowned. And so just a small little rim, and that'll just help preserve your accuracy. But overall, a very beautiful handgun, and the design is very elegant. Of course, John Moses Browning was one of his designs, which he had so many different legendary styles, and the 1911 is really near the top. Then we have frame to slide fit. Just a little bit of play, not bad. When it comes to barrel, the bushing actually fits to the barrel and it just keeps it in place, just helps for accuracy. Here on the back, a little bit of movement. Now, one of the things about the 1911 is either you're really tight and you get a little less reliability, or you have some tolerances that are a little bit loose just to help for reliability. And the tighter the tolerances, the more accurate it's going to be. So we'll see when we get to the range. But I really like to have good reliability and yet have decent accuracy. And I think with the play here, I think we're going to find that it's going to be pretty decent. We're not looking for a match pistol. We're looking for a really fun pistol to take to the range. And for that matter, you could use this for home defense or concealed carry if you want to carry something that has a steel frame. But it's doable. All right, let's check the trigger pull action. It's a very short trigger, and the take up is right to here. An extremely crisp break. That's nice. Reset. Just right there, it just pops right back. Let's check the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 3 pounds, 5.2 ounces. 3 pounds, 5 ounces. That's pretty consistent. And weight on the Tank Commander, 33.88 ounces. It is an all steel frame, so it does have some heft to it, but when you're shooting 45 ACP, you're going to enjoy having a little bit more weight. Again, I've had the lightweight Commander for a number of years. It's great to carry, and it's very pleasant to shoot. But with the steel frame, it's just going to give you a little more balance. And it's one of the things about the 1911 is the balance. It's a thin grip, and it just has that natural pointability, which was designed that way. You can use the safety, frame safety, to help mitigate your recoil, but really get your hand up high, of course, with a wide beaver tail. It does help to kind of spread things out on your hand, but this is really a very elegant gun for a more civilized age. Well, World War I and World War II were not very civilized. Big thanks to Fiocchi for sponsoring our ammo, all made in the USA, one of the biggest suppliers of ammunition in the country. We're using a standard USGI mag, 7 rounds, and these are Metgar mags. So, nice anodized finish to them, but we'll see how these function. Well guys, we have the Tisas 1911. This is the Tank Commander. It's that Commander size barrel length, which is 4 1/4 inches. Just a little bit shorter than your standard government. It's going with those 7 round traditional World War II, World War I magazines. But made by Metgar. The gun has been uber reliable, straight out of the box. Haven't cleaned it, anything, just brought it down here. Love the finish on it. Of course, the sights have been improved a little bit over the standard combat sights, but they're pretty marginal. Grip, standard 1911. I like the wood grips, just makes it look nice. No front strap serrations, so, you know, it just is what it is, but this worked for a long time. But the 7 round magazines, again, they've just been very reliable. And I love when you drop that slide with the 45, it makes a clunk sound. Shoots very well. It's a 1911. I mean, a Commander size, and it shoots that way. But the forged barrel and slide really make a big difference with the quality. So while it is a budget-friendly handgun, there's some quality that goes into this, and I think we're seeing a lot of 1911s now that are coming down in price, but yet retain good quality, not necessarily the refinements of your more
low drag, no snag type models. But magazines go in even though there's no beveling on the mag well. Drop in the slide, you can see it kind of bound up a little bit, but honestly, overall, we have not had any problems. I just dropped the slide stop, but I'm gonna just go ahead and fire off a few more rounds a little more rapidly, and you can see a little bit more about having the control even with a shorter barrel 1911 and 45. I mean, the one thing about the 45 is the balance. It's the balance. I love it. I love the thinner grip. I get a really good solid hold on it. And again, I'm so used to shooting 1911s. If you have really big hands, it might be a little small, a little thin. But there's something about the traditional 1911 that is legendary. And it served the U.S. military for so long, and it's just proven itself in combat. So it's like having a piece of history, especially this Tank Commander. Just the look of it has that vintage look.
All right, disassembly. Drop our magazine, check the chamber, gun's empty, point in a safe direction, pull the trigger. Now we're going to start with the barrel bushing right here. And we have the barrel bushing or the recoil spring plug, and it's holding in your barrel bushing. So we're going to press it down and we're going to turn that barrel bushing to 9 o'clock. And it has pressure, so be really careful. Don't let that go. And then we're going to take the plug off. Now with your bushing, you can go back to about 4 to 5 o'clock. There's a little notch, and we can just pull that out. There we go. And it's a little solid barrel bushing, and this just kind of mates up to the barrel. This is what gives you your accuracy. And then we're going to bring it back, and we're going to bring our hammer back first. Now we want to get it into this little notch. Get that back of the slide stop, and then we're going to push it out from the other side right there. And then just pull that right out. And then take your slide and you can just bring it off the frame. Then we have our recoil spring and guide rod. We're going to pull it out, standard. And then we have our barrel. You're going to drop your barrel link and just come right out the front of the slide. Now one thing about the barrel, again, it's a forged barrel. It does have beveling. It is ramped, fully ramped right here. And so it's just a very well done. Of course, again, we haven't shot this yet, so we're going to find out. But really short recoil spring, which is typical. The interior is pretty impeccable, honestly. I mean, there are no tooling marks. It's just very well done. Something you don't expect from a really budget firearm. And then we have our frame. Very simple, but very well executed. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And guys, that's the way you disassemble. It's not a big deal once you try it a few times, just different than your polymer striker fires. Make sure your barrel link's in the down position and put it right back in to your slide. Then bring it back up. Then we're going to take our recoil spring and our short guide rod. We're going to fit it in there. Take your barrel link, bring it down, because your slide stop is going to go right through that hole. And then we bring it back over our frame. And then you just keep going back. Now sometimes the barrel has to set. There it goes. And then as we bring it back, we're going to check and see if that barrel link's coming through. And then we're going to drop in our slide stop. If the barrel link is not in place like that, so it wasn't quite all the way back. And so we want to make sure that we get that all the way back. There we go. I see it now. And that's one way to check it. Okay, drop it in. Then we're going to bring our slide forward. But we want to mate it up to this little notch again. So you want to lift up your slide stop. Be careful not to slide it against the frame. And then you get it just under that little detent right there. And then we're going to push up and in, just like that. So you push up and in, you want to fit it into there, but you've got to defeat the little detent. Now we're going to take our barrel bushing. We're going to bring it to that 4 o'clock position. We'll make sure we have it over our barrel and it doesn't interfere with the spring, just like that. And once you have it in place, just turn it and get it to that 9 o'clock position. Then take our plug, our recoil spring plug, and we're going to push it down to press it and then bring it over. Now it'll catch it right there. And so to get it to go all the way over, and it snaps right into place. Then we're going to test for function, and we're good to go. I'll tell you one thing, the magazine hold open on the last round, it does take a little force to drop it. Now we're back in business. Now, keeping your firearms maintained and cleaned is vital. Otis makes some of the best cleaning equipment out there. They make a number of different kits that are dedicated for different rifles, pistols. They also have Shooter's Choice, which makes excellent CLP and bore solvent and different cleaning materials. The Ripcord is one of their signatures, and there's a whole system based around it. They are suppliers to the U.S. military. So check out Otis Technologies, highly recommended, and we want to thank Otis for being a sponsor of the channel. Guys, it comes in this really nice box, and we can flip up our handles, have the gun, it's enclosed foam padding, a place for your magazines. We have extra plastic grips, and you can go with that really traditional design. One thing I thought was nice is they do have a barrel bushing wrench. You don't really need it because it really moves around fairly easily, but this is a great addition as well. And then, of course, we have our lock, which is mandated by the U.S. government, and we also have a couple of cleaning rods, and then underneath we have our owner's manual and how to attach the lock. So very well done, very full featured, and there are some cutouts here for extra magazines or different things. So really cool box. All right, the manufacturer suggested retail is $489.99. On Guns on Deals, these run $419.99. So a very reasonable price for, honestly, a very well-finished handgun. And that's one of the things I keep hearing about the Tisas, whether it's your commander size or your longer government or GI size. And then, again, you have a number of different options where they have upgraded versions, even stainless steel versions. Magazines are Metgar. That's a big plus. I love the wood grips, but also we have those standard plastic grips if you want to get really traditional. The finish is beautiful. That manganized phosphate finish, it just is very even. There's no dark spots or light spots or thin. It's just very well done. It isn't that traditional design that was original with the short beaver tail, with the standard little trigger. I've got your commander hammer and then the standard serrations. I like the upgrades on the sights. And it's just a standard 1911 like the military would have used with a little bit shorter barrel. I like that they are using the Metgar magazines because that's typically very reliable. One of the problems with your guns malfunctioning is just having magazine or ammunition issues. So that's a real bonus. And you get two magazines. A lot of times with 1911s, they just send one magazine because typically people have other 1911 mags. Again, 45 or 9mm. So a really high quality 1911 and yet has a very reasonable price. And guys, that's the biggest pro. So guys, again, I have heard so much about the Tisas 1911, and now I understand why. Of course, you know, whether you get it 9mm or 45 ACP, get it in the Commander version or the government, and then their upgraded models. These are solidly built handguns. So check out the Tisas 1911, and again, a big thank you to Nate over at Guns on Deals for sending the Tisas 1911 Tank Commander in 45 ACP for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. The Tisas will serve you well. I don't know that. I mean, that is pretty solid. Well, I'm doing just the slide. Of course, it's solid. And 45 ACP, man, that is the real deal. 9mm version now has surpassed the Okay, it surpassed something. Oh yeah! Good quality, forged barrel, and say, I don't want to go into all that crap. Let's check it out. Let's check it. Check it out. Self-defense option. Okay, is it in today's world? Is this really a great self-defense option? Yeah, it is.